Right. So explain to me this movement. What's this movement about?
It's basically a movement of angry incels, such as myself, who are unable to get laid. Therefore, we want to overthrow the Chads, which would force the Stacys to be forced to reproduce with the incels.
Right. Okay. When you say incels,
involuntary celibate.
Celibate. So that's just a short form for fellas who
can't get laid.
Can't have sex. Right. Okay.
On April 23rd, 2018, around 1:20 p.m., Toronto experienced its most devastating mass murder to date. Caught on camera was 25-year-old Alek Minassian. He was seen driving a rental van at high speeds along sidewalks, carelessly taking lives. In his deadly rampage, 10 individuals perished and 16 sustained severe injuries. The van was eventually immobilized, leading to Alek's apprehension at gunpoint. Subsequently, he was taken to a Toronto police station for questioning 9 hours after the incident occurred. Alek admits to being part of an incel uprising that was taking place on 4chan, which is an anonymous messaging board that allows people to speak their minds on lots of different topics. But before we get into that, you guys must know that this is Reaper House, and viewer discretion is advised. Now, Alex is of the belief that he and others alike are pretty much on the bottom of the reproductive scale, making them least likely to be chosen by women to be in relationships with, and as well as to have children with said women. As you guys will see, Alek does in fact tell the detective his crimes and the intentions behind them with little to no remorse for the victims. This may be due to Alek having autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. Now, ASD is a disorder that affects how a person interacts with others. This includes communication, social cues, and behaviors.
Voluntarily celibate. What does that mean?
That means celibacy means someone who never has a sexual intercourse.
Right.
Involuntary celibacy means this wasn't your choice. You essentially have been thrown into true forced loneliness and you're unable to lose your virginity.
Right.
This is especially painful for young males.
When did you first, sorry, you mentioned this and I forgot. When did you first go on to 4chan?
2014.
2014. And specifically when in 2014?
May 23, 2014.
And how were you able to remember that?
Because I remember that was a very significant day.
Okay. What was that?
That was when Elliot Rodger decided to essentially commit an uprising, a beta uprising, if you will,
right,
against the Chads and the Stacys.
It was Elliot Rodger who was the father.
Basically, the founding forefather of the entire movement.
Right.
Some of you may be familiar with Elliot Rodger, which is shown here. He made headlines in 2014 when he took the lives of 6 people and injuring 14 before taking his own. I won't go into much detail about Elliot, just his influence on Alek, which is precisely what he was. He promoted his hate for women and how they were not attracted to him. Rodger expressed extreme frustration and anger towards women, whom he blamed for his lack of romantic and sexual success. And this is what we see coming from Alek himself, similar idealism and as well as a severe need to act on his hatred. Alek and Elliot are both of the same belief that they have been added to a subgroup of men that hasn't been treated fairly. And according to Alek, he was willing to take matters into his own hands.
And what happened in the Elliot Rodgers uprising? What did he do?
I know he used a gun as well as a vehicle to convert the life status of certain individuals to death status.
Right.
Only to carry the message that incels can't be oppressed.
And were these fellas active on 4chan?
Yes.
They were. Have you ever communicated with these fellas?
I actually have, as a matter of fact. We discussed our frustrations at society and being unable to get laid, and we were plotting a certain timed strikes on society in order to confuse and shake the foundations, just to put all the normies in a state of panic.
Okay, and who would be a normie?
Normie means normal people. That would be anyone who is considered to be normal by the unfair standards of society.
But not the Chads or Stacys. Chads
and Stacys are actually above normies, or at least they think they're above normies.
Of course, yeah. Okay, all right. So is it fair to say you've got Chads and Stacys up here, normies down here, and then you've got celebs who believe that they are being repressed? Incels, sorry.
Yes.
Incels who believe they're being suppressed or repressed,
yes.
and so as a result, to even the playing field.
Yes.
They convert the Stacys and Chads from living to dead, and to
so
make
that we come out on top.
Yeah, more than so. Is there so the targets? Who would the targets for this uprising be?
All of the alpha males.
All the alpha males. So the Chads.
Yes.
So those are the people that you want to kill.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard correctly. Alek laid it out as straightforward as possible. His targets were to be those that were at the top of the hierarchy, the quote-unquote alpha males. The idea behind this is that it gives the incels a chance to take the place of set alphas and to have a higher chance with the ladies, while at the same time making a statement to everyone that betas or incels are no longer the bottom when it comes to the hierarchy. So yeah, let's carry on.
And who else?
Any of the Stacys who do not wish to give their love and affection to the incels.
So they're a target as well.
Yes.
To be killed.
Yes.
Okay. And what about the normies? Normies.
Yes, we don't necessarily wish to kill the normies, but we do wish to subjugate them in order to make them understand that that our type is the more superior one.
When specifically did you first contact or have contact with Elliot?
January of 2014.
2014. And when did you stop having communication with him?
As soon as he was deceased.
Okay. So his act, I know, took place in 2014, but I wasn't aware of the exact day. What day was it?
May 23, 2014.
May 23rd. Yeah, you said that. So when did you last speak to him?
May 20.
May 20th. And so what did he tell you?
He told me that he has to go. He is on a very important mission,
mm-hmm.
and he might not make it back alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what did you say to him?
I kind of had an idea in my head of what he was planning, but I didn't want to think it was true at the time. So I replied and said, I wish you good luck with that.
Right on. Okay. Okay. And
yes.
And when did you learn that what he had done?
I saw it on the news later that night.
Later on the 23rd.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you think?
I thought that I came to the understanding that this is the mission that he had to carry out.
Okay. All right. And anything else?
I felt kind of proud of him for his acts of bravery.
Okay. All right. And what about how you started to change your thinking? Was any of that going on?
I was starting to feel radicalized at that time.
You were. Okay. And when you say radicalized, what do you mean by that?
Meaning I felt it was time to take action and not just sit on the sidelines and just fester in my own sadness.
Right on. Okay.
Now here in this point of the interrogation, Alek expresses his tipping point with the detective, what finally drove him to commit these acts. In the long run, it won't help Alek or his case at all, as he's already placed himself on record for confessing to his crimes. Also note that throughout this interrogation, Alek hasn't shown any signs of nervousness or trying to hide the truth. He speaks very matter-of-fact.
And then, so what happened? So tell me what takes place.
So I booked the van.
Yep.
And then I just simply wait until today.
Yep.
And then I go rent the van, and then I drive it, take it downtown to Toronto.
Okay.
And I just start using it as a weapon.
Okay. All right. And so when you say that, what do you mean by that?
Meaning the vehicle collided with several pedestrians, some of who are no longer alive as a result.
Right. Okay. Okay. And so that's a lot of information. Take me back to a month ago. You said this is when this whole planning started?
Yes.
Okay. So about a month ago, where were you at that point?
I was at Seneca College, and I decided to phone Ryder and book either a truck or a van with them. And they had a 10-foot van available, so I figured that this is perfect. I can it's big enough to have an effect, but not too big that I can't maneuver with it. So the van was the perfect medium size to use as my weapon.
So when do you leave Ryder?
I wasn't looking at the time when I left, but I know I received the van before 1 p.m., although the booking was actually scheduled for 1.
Okay, all right. And how long does it take you to get from Ryder to Yonge Street?
To Yonge? To the beginning of Yonge?
To the beginning of the attack.
Oh, to the near Yonge and Finch.
Yeah.
I would estimate about 20 to 30 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes. Now, what are you thinking while you're in the van?
I'm thinking that this is it. This is the day of retribution.
Okay. And anything else in your mind?
Just that. That's the only thing that's in my mind. It's just burning in my mind.
Burning in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let me ask you this, because this is really interesting. Why do you choose Yonge and Finch?
I didn't choose Yonge and Finch in particular. I was driving down Yonge because I knew it would be a busy area, and then as soon as I saw there were pedestrians, I just decided to go for it.
Okay. And so, am I correct when I say that you knew at least you were on Yonge Street?
Yes.
And you knew that you were.
Because I specifically chose it beforehand. Because that's why. Because I even looked for that ramp from Highway 7 to Yonge.
Right. Okay.
As I said earlier, Alek speaks very matter-of-factly, and this seems to be just part of his normal behavior as a person. This may also be due to him having ASD, which doesn't excuse any of his actions. His lawyers would actually try this defense in court, but would ultimately fail. The investigator is making it clear that Alek was aware of his actions during his rampage, further incriminating Alek. A smart move by the detective.
Okay. So, nevertheless, you're at a stoplight, you said?
Yes.
And now, are you faced with a red light? You're stopped?
Yes, but as soon as it turned green, I started going.
Okay, and just walk me through this, okay, step by step. So it turns green, and what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is it. I see all these people. It's time to go for it.
Time to go for it. And what do?
I floor the pedal.
Yeah.
I speed the van towards them, and I allow the van to collide with them.
Okay. And then what happens?
Some people get knocked out of the way. Some people roll over the top of the van.
Okay. And then what happens?
I continue doing that until in fact, actually, to be honest, the only reason I stopped my attack was because someone's drink got splashed on my windshield, and I was worried that I would crash the van anyway, so I decided, okay, now I wanted to do more, but I've kind of been foiled by a lack of visibility. So then that's when I turned right, and I saw the cops approaching, so I decided to pull over and get out of my van.
Okay.
Yes.
And you knew the cops were coming?
Yes.
Okay. And so then what happens at that point?
I see a patrol car pull over, and I hear the cops screaming at me to get out. So I get out, and I point my wallet at the cop with the intent for it to be confused with a gun so that I could be fatally shot.
Okay. And was that something you were thinking about?
Yes.
I know. I mean, what I'm saying is,
even beforehand, I premeditated as an attempted suicide by cop.
You wanted to be killed by the police.
Yes.
Okay.
That unfortunately he didn't react. Right. So then I ended up being ordered to the ground. So I knew at that point he's not going to shoot me. So I've lost. So I had no choice but to just get on the ground.
I'm going to ask you this. because it's important. 10 people died here today. 15 people were seriously injured. I think it's important to ask how you feel about that.
I feel like I accomplished my mission.
You feel like you accomplished your mission?
Yes.
Okay. If the families of those people who were murdered and were injured were in this room right now, what would you say to them?
I honestly don't know what I would say.
Would you apologize?
I honestly don't know.
For the 2018 attack, Alek Minassian was found guilty of 10 counts of first-degree murder in the Toronto van attack. He was granted a life sentence in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. In total, 11 people would have actually passed away. One victim would have succumbed to their injuries shortly after the attack. As of today, Alek is still serving his sentence with no sign of getting out anytime soon. If you made it this far, we'd like to say thank you and to consider leaving a like or even subscribing, but only if you'd like. Reaper House is coming up on 1,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. See you all next time, and please be safe out there.